al 100%. Entonces, cuando se trataba de las aves, ella siempre estaba viendo aves, emocionándose por aves y llamando a Alison para preguntarle cosas sobre las aves. Por ejemplo, Alison, creo que yo vi un flamingo. Y Alison tuvo que decirle, pues, ¿encontramos? No. Pero una memoria que nos hace reír y pensar con Roni, en Roni con sonrisas en la cara.
Una buena conexión.
Una buena conexión. ¿Alguien más quiere compartir unas palabras?
I don't think I've ever met another person who was such a nature as Roni was. The sheer number of things she was doing on a daily basis was astonishing to me. That she had that energy, and she was like any question I ever needed an answer for this community, she had it or knew where I could get it. And she felt like the linchpin here. And I don't know a soul that could fill that spot now. It would take 10 people to fill that
Right.
space.
Está comentando que Roni era una fuerza de la naturaleza, haciendo 10 cosas a la vez y que va a ser un espacio muy difícil de llenar, tomando en cuenta todo lo que ella hacía en un día solo que asombraba a la vida.
Bueno, en mi caso, Roni para mí fue alguien muy especial porque me hizo descubrir una parte de mí que no imaginaba que tenía. Con ella yo aprendí a pintar con acrílico. Entonces, la verdad, disfruté bastante y también compartí mucho con ella. De hecho, well, also she was one of the first person that I tried to practice and talk in English, and it felt comfortable. It felt like I was talking like someone too close, even if we don't know each other very well. So I know that Roni was a very important person for everyone here. Y creo que tengo que decir, y también voy a hablar por una amiga, por Jimena, que no pudo estar aquí, que muchas personas jóvenes también la admirábamos mucho y hubiéramos deseado tener la energía que tenía ella. Entonces, definitivamente Roni va a vivir en nosotras y realmente creo que podemos descubrir mejor quiénes somos a partir de admirar personas que han vivido tanto y han aprendido tanto de otras personas. Gracias.
Bueno, se me hace como un nudillo en la garganta porque Roni fue mi primera profesora de inglés. Fue increíble porque Roni estaba recién llegada acá y había, después de donde está la bomba Trova, ahí en una casa que hay la veterinaria, ahí había una sodita, y ahí en esa sodita ella dio un curso, su primer curso de inglés, y yo fui uno de los estudiantes. And then I'm going to speak so good English because she was my teacher. No, that is nada de decir, pero sinceramente aprendí mucho con ella, me enseñó mucho, pero algo que le recuerdo y que después siempre iba a la finca a ver su café y algunas partes me preguntaba sobre la poda y algo sobre el café. Y otra cosa importante que tenía, o que es demasiado, digamos, su corazón o su amabilidad. Y mi madre me estaba contando estos días que hemos hablado de Roni, que dice que nosotros vivimos en Las Brisas, en la entrada Siete Colinas, ahí nada más 50 metros adelante, y mi madre dice que en varias ocasiones Roni la trajo a San Vito, y Roni tenía eso, si ella venía para San Vito en su carro, las personas que estuvieran en el trayecto los traía al pueblo, era muy generosa. Entonces quiero recordar esa generosidad de Roni.
Another one is an example of Roni. How many kids did she affect?
particularly when she taught them English. Over the 20 plus years that I've been here and almost 20 years that Ronnie was here, I've met so many Ticos. I hear them speak English and I always ask them, where did you learn your English? The colegio, in the universidad? And they say, Ronnie. And their English is excellent. One day I was walking into the BM, it was a young couple going in, very young, mid-20s, and she said something in English to me. And I stopped her and I asked her, where did you learn your English? She said, Ronnie. That girl had just graduated and she's a doctor. Wow. The opportunities that gives to the young people to learn English, Ronnie knew about that. When Ronnie first came down here, she didn't speak Spanish. She lived up north and she lived with her family and she took classes. She knew to be part of the community, she had to learn Spanish. When she came down here, she was in the first class of Lily's detectivos. Why? Because she spoke Spanish. All the kids that she taught in all these years, and I've run into so many people, she's given a great opportunity and doors of opportunity to go through. One thing about Ronnie that I have in common, that we were close. Ronnie was from New Jersey, I was from Pennsylvania. My city of birth is Philadelphia. And Ronnie and I had a lot in common. She lived there for many years. She actually worked in the Philadelphia Art Museum. Everybody has seen the Rocky movie where Rocky runs up the steps. That's the museum. It's very famous. She worked for a number of other art institutions. Most people don't know this, but Ronnie had a very difficult home life. I think it was one of those, you're never good enough, you're second best, the other sister's better. So bad, Ronnie left home in high school, and she quit school. On her own, she left. In the end, she got a college degree. I think from that point on is what built her to be a strong, independent, assertive, self-confident woman. And that's why she made so much progress in life. All the things that she developed. She had very little help. And she was very opinionated. I think we all know that. But she believed in herself. She built that confidence, and that was important to her. Ronnie and I had a lot in common. I knew Ronnie from when she first came down. When she came down, I found it amazing that she was living on $500 a month. Ticos can't even do that. But she put her nose to the ground. She worked hard. You see what happened after all these years. What else can I say about Ronnie? In the old days, 20-some years ago when she first came down, I knew Ronnie. We were friends. As I mentioned recently, the community of Gringos was very small 20 years ago. Now it's so big I don't know everybody. So we all knew each other, and I was friends with Ronnie. But only over the last 3 or 4 years we became very, very close friends. One of the things that helped us to be friends is there's a group of us who go to the Ferio on Saturdays, and then we get together and have coffee or breakfast, and we get to communicate more. Recently, I took Ronnie to two events in February. One was Joe's operetta there that we listened to. The other one was the annual Bird Club meeting this year at the Botanical. And I said to Ronnie that night, because I had to take her back to her lovely truck, you know, we've gotten to be really good friends over the last few years and really get to know each other and tell intimate stories. I said, I really appreciate it. And I look forward to many more years. So you never know, as my friend Barry will say, when you're on the bus, you never know when your stop comes up. And that sure was a sudden stop for Ronnie. It was a shock to all of us. We will miss her. We will never forget her. And she will never be replaced. She was truly unique in her ways. Thank you.
I don't know what to say. We're also just shocked and heartbroken, and I've been in a daze since it happened. And I've looked through some pictures that I have of Ronnie, and the ones that really stand out for me are some where she, we went on a Quetzal walk with Henry, and the Quetzal walk up at Las Tablas, and with Ellen and I and Ronnie and my husband, and we're up there and we're looking at the Quetzals and hearing the bellbirds and this and that, and there was this tree, and the forest there just seemed bigger than life. And Ronnie standing under the tree like this, with the arms like this, And she looks this big in the image. I will post it so I will share that image. Another time that she was laying like this was at her home in her hot tub pool that she had created, which was a masterpiece in and of itself, which anybody that had the pleasure of going there and dipping in that, which I did a few times. And so Roni wanted to know or to share that idea of, oh, this is finished, everybody look, and she was laying in it like this. So she's a woman who had an idea, a vision, she could put it together and manifest it in beautiful ways, and we'll keep that in our memories as well. I'm going to share a poem, if I can get through it without breaking down. It's from Richard Bach, who wrote the book Illusions. And it's a very, I don't know, I just love this poem. I share it often when someone passes. It's pretty simple. The words are, don't be dismayed at a goodbye. A farewell is necessary before we meet again. And meeting again, after moments or lifetimes, is certain for those you call friends. It's certain for those you call friends. Just call ourselves friends more in light of having lost this beautiful person in our community. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I witnessed her many times teaching children and how she was so sweet with the kids. She was soft-spoken and really took care with her classes with the kids. And I just think she was a great teacher and a great organizer. And I wanted to tell a story about when I first met her. I was living in Grand Cayman, and my husband and I were planning our move back to Costa Rica. And I was looking for friends on MySpace, and somehow I came across Roni, and I could see that she was a world traveler. She had pictures of different places that she'd been, and so we became friends on MySpace. Also, Dave, who was here right now, we also became friends on MySpace at that time. And I moved to Costa Rica, back to Costa Rica in July of 2007. And the first night that I went out to be social at a gringo bar, who walks in but Dave and Roni, and that was the first time I met her in person. And we've been friends ever since, so that was in 2007, and I'm just really going to miss her.
Mucho tiempo. Y sí, me impresionó su forma de ser, de que siempre quiso ayudar a los demás, en especial a los jóvenes. En especial me decía, tengo que ayudarlos a que aprendan inglés, tengo que ayudarlos. Y eso para mí fue muy importante que una persona no dé algo, sino que se dé a los demás, que eso es la diferencia. No importa qué carácter tenía, no importa qué problemas pudo haber tenido, cada persona lo tenemos. Pero su forma de ver la vida era tratar de ayudar, de hacer siempre el más, hacer y hacer y hacer. Y es algo, pues, en eso nos parecíamos. Y le agradezco, una vez llegar a mi casa, mi hermana, que aún vivía, me dolía mucho la espalda y ella la ayudó con muchos ejercicios y sobre todo con el agua, y le enseñó a hacer cosas. Y para mí eso fue importante, la estaba conociendo en ese momento y ella tenía que ayudarla. De hecho, de ahí sacó la idea y se hizo su caso, porque estaba como loca por tener algo ahí. y me enseñó a mí cómo calentar. O sea, siempre estaba viendo a ver si ayudaba. Pero lo que más me gustó de ella es que amó este pueblo, este país, este pueblo en especial, más que a su propio país. Cosa que para mí es importante porque eso mismo fue lo que hizo mi mamá hace muchos años.
Estoy aprendiendo a hablar español, pero mi español es muy mal. So, lo siento, I'm going to speak in English. Ronnie picked me up like a stray cat on the side of the road, quite literally. I had missed the bus to San Vito, and she was driving out, and she stopped and asked, and I was even on the wrong side of the road because I was waiting in the shade, but she just kind of knew. And she said, "Do you need a ride?" And she asked in Espanol, and I said, "Sí, sí, gracias." And I was climbing into her beautiful truck, and she hit me with rapid fire Espanol, and I looked at her, and I was like, "Lo siento, lo siento." And she immediately, with her New Jersey accent, said, "Would English be better?" "Yes, please." And by the end of that morning, she had brought me to the feria and to join the gringo breakfast. And by that evening, she had texted me contact information for 4 more people. And a week later, I was meeting Pancho out in Altamira. Like, I feel like this is home, and I am making this my home. And she has modeled for me what that can look like, to be dear friends with locals and with gringos. And anything that I do here, or what my life looks like here, is always going to be shaded a more beautiful color because of Roni.
A todos, es un día de tristeza y a la vez de reconfort, de saber que todos estamos aquí recordando a nuestra amiga Roni. Yo conocí a Roni pintando con mujeres comprometidas con la tierra. Fue una mujer que se abría a cualquier persona, como todos hemos dicho aquí. Una cosa que admiro de ella es el amor por sus amigos y por la gente que tampoco conocía, porque ella, como dijo la señora ya, ella le daba la mano a cualquier persona sin saber quién era esa persona, sin saber si era good or bad, the person. We make a good relationship. She teach me a lot of stuff about painting. I always ask her, help me to correct this, and what do you see here, what do you see there. Also my English too. And she said, no, your English is perfect. And I said, your Spanish is perfect too. And she one day called me because I have a neighbor close to me, Chamaquin. I know a lot of people who know him. She lives by herself there in her house. And she said, Letty, can you go to her house and help her? She damaged her arm and she cannot put her arm in her clothing, so I can come to get her to the hospital. And I said, sure, I'm going to help her. But that was the kind of woman. She was in Seven Colinas and I was in Santa Teresa. She called, to asking for help for her friends and for everybody else that she can help. So her love for the community is so wonderful that I want to be like her. I want to, help everybody that I can, because without getting anything, because that was the kind of woman that she was. And I will miss her. There was no goodbye just until we see you again.
Buenos días para todos, para todas. Gracias por estar acá. Voy a hablar en nombre de Siete Colinas. Hay una familia también por allá, por ahí está Keina. Los que tuvimos el privilegio de conocer a Roni desde tantos años, cuando llegó a Siete Colinas, conocimos la parte de Roni de dar amor. Una de las partes
o la forma de dar amor era cocinando. Le gustaba cocinar. Recuerdo que soy de una asociación de mujeres, nos apoyó siempre y siempre me pedía patacones. Le encantaban los patacones con chimichurri y frijoles rojos. Creo que la memoria de cada uno de nosotros existirá lo mejor de ella, ¿verdad? Todos tenemos días difíciles, sin embargo, siempre pasaba mi negocio y me saludaba en su carro o pasaba a comprar algo y me daba un abrazo. Créame que ese abrazo lo recibía porque no era de dar muchos abrazos a todo el mundo. Entonces, para nosotros, los que la conocimos en Siete Colinas, le teníamos mucho cariño. Fue la primera americana, si no me equivoco, que llegó a Siete Colinas. Y compartíamos el amor por los perros, por los animales, pero especial por los perros. Dani era su hijo y llevaba a Dani a jugar con 4 perros que tengo, con sus primos, les decía. Entonces creo que todos los que estamos aquí es porque le tenemos un cariño y esos recuerdos vivirán en nuestro corazón. Gracias.
With Roni here, and she really, helped the women in the program learn about shading and color and design. And she just, as we all know, has such an artistic, creative eye and a really wonderful way of teaching people. She was very patient, and a lot of women in the group would always say, "Well, I don't know anything about painting. I can't do it." And I watched Roni really help them come out of their shell and gain the confidence to start with something simple, and then from there kind of open that door into, having belief in themselves that they could paint something more elaborate. So, para los que solo hablan español, esto es uno de los proyectos del grupo de mujeres comprometidas con la tierra y realizamos ese proyecto con la ayuda de Roni. Por eso el nombre de Roni está en el rótulo, inaugurando el espacio en 2023 en mayo. Y estaba contándoles que Roni siempre era una instructora, una educadora muy, muy paciente. Ella sabía cómo ayudar a la gente de superar las barreras mentales, ¿verdad? De miedo, de preocupación, de, yo no puedo hacerlo, no tengo talento. Ella realmente sabía cómo guiar a la gente hacia nuevas fronteras creativas. Así que siempre voy a pensar en Roni. Llegando a ese espacio, recordando los momentos que compartimos alrededor de la mesa, las mesas, pintando y aprendiendo sobre la naturaleza, aprendiendo sobre arte, porque el arte realmente conecta a la gente. Así que gracias, Roni, por todo. Muchas gracias.